stroke survivor for 35.5 years. When I was 15 years old, I had a massive stroke that should have killed me, but thanks to the efforts of a world-class doctor in London, Ontario, Dr. David Spence, I survived, and I've carried on, I pushed through, and I've recovered since then. Now, when I had my stroke, I didn't want to hang, when I was convalescing, when I was recovering, I didn't want to hang around with a lot of my other, and associate with other stroke patients and their families, because the other stroke patients were 50s, 60s, and 70s in age, which was older than my parents at the time, and I didn't want to hang with a bunch of older people, a lot of them who were feeling sorry for themselves because they had had a stroke. I've never felt sorry that I had a stroke. I never said, why me, because my stroke was caused by an extra rib that I have in my chest. It's called a cervical rib. And that cervical rib pressed the artery to my arm, my right arm, and a foot-long blood clot formed in my right shoulder. The pressure on that blood clot backfired and went into the right side of my brain, where the right hemisphere of my brain was so swollen, it pushed the left hemisphere over by 1/4 of an inch, and that should have killed me instantly. It didn't, and I survived. And now that I'm older, I've become a writer, which is pretty unusual for a person that's had a stroke, because most stroke patients are shy and introverted, and that's definitely not me. I've gotten more extrovert in my years, in my 20s, 30s, and 40s, probably even more now in my 50s. But I've been volunteering with the local heart and stroke office here in Windsor, and wonderful people, and I've seen the impact that I can have on not only stroke survivors but their families, and researchers and doctors and therapists, and that's very inspiring. That's the best. That's better than winning the lottery as far as I'm concerned, and just to help other people, to help prevent strokes happening to other people is huge now. And there's been so many advances now in stroke. Well, if I had my stroke today, the TPA, the clot busting drug, would have been inserted into my body, and my blood clots would have been dissolved essentially quickly. But you can't think that that was then, this is now. But stroke, I think now, was the Heart and Stroke Foundation has given a lot of research to doctors and therapists, and stroke is probably easier to beat today than it was 30 years ago, 35 years ago. And I'm there to help educate, I think, people and inspire people, and that's what I want to do.